If your tumble dryer starts to make a grating noise as it turns, it could be the front bearings have worn down or got grit encrusted in them, in which case they need replacing. Although replacing the bearing pads is easy, actually getting to them is not quite so straightforward. So in this video I will be replacing the front nylon bearings on a Hotpoint CTD Tumble condenser dryer. The tools I'll need are a large flat bladed screwdriver, a Phillips screwdriver, powered or manual, an 8mm socket and wrench attachment, a pair of engineer's pliers and a multimeter. Before you do anything, disconnect the machine from the mains power. Now with the machine isolated, you can start by removing the two screws holding the top on and push it backwards, then lift it off. There's one screw on the top of the side panel and four down the back edge. When they've been removed, the panel can be slid backwards and lifted out. Unhook the wiring from the channel along the top of the impeller housing and then lever out one of the joints with a large screwdriver. This will allow you to remove the top half of the housing. The impeller is held on by a spring clamp around the centre shaft. Grip it with a pair of pliers and pull it off. It may be possible to lever it off the motor shaft, but if not, then just tap it from behind to remove it. With the impeller out of the way, you can get access to the bolt at the rear of the pulley assembly. Use an 8mm socket and undo it. Then loosen the front bolt, but don't remove that one. The pulley will pivot down from the back, but it will be tight, so may need a bit of assistance. Once it's dropped down, you can ease the belt over the wheel and off. The next part to come off is the door, because it will make the front panel uneven and awkward to hold if left attached. You only need to remove the top pivot point and then lift it out of the lower one. Now open the condensing filter flap and ease that off, but be careful not to damage the plastic lugs which hook into the machine base. The condensing filter can now be unclipped and removed. The reason why these parts need to come off is you'll need to put your foot into the filter opening to hold the machine down while you lift the front panel up and away from the drum and base of the machine. While you're down there, you can take out the three screws along the front edge of the panel. Remove the water reservoir and then the two screws on the fascia panel. On top of the fascia panel on the right hand side there are three more screws which all have to come out, although only two are screwed into the support bar on the side. The centre one goes through it and will prevent the front panel from coming off if not removed. Hold the machine down with your foot in the filter housing and lift the panel up and out with one hand while the other hand is easing the drum up. By freeing the belt earlier, it makes the task a little bit easier. I've removed some of the wires so I could turn the front panel like this to show the bearings and how to remove and replace them. As I said at the start of this video, they come out and go back easily, but getting to them is the hard part. There are 5 bearings and each one fits the same way. You may want to clean up any dirt or loose fibre from the felt seal before replacing the panel. When refitting the front panel, you first have to locate the rim of the drum into the gap between the bearings and the felt seal. Then ease the top part of the drum over the rest of the seal before lowering the panel into the base of the machine. And to do this, the drum opening will need to be slightly tilting upwards, so in some cases you may need to remove the other side panel to allow that little extra room for movement. You will need to realign the water reservoir ducting before fitting the two screws, as this will hold the front secure, and you can then refit the 3 screws on the other side of the fascia. The screws on the lower front edge should all be lined up, but be careful to refit the correct screws, or you could have small ones going where large ones should fit. Put the condensing filter back and lock it in place, then reattach the lower flap. If you put it on as though it were closed, then just tap along the lower edge, it will fit back easily. The door will sit on the lower pivot point, and you just need to attach the 2 screws in the upper pivot. Line the belt up with the mark previously left on the drum, and then feed it over the pulley. Lever the pulley assembly up with the large screwdriver, making sure it's held tight against the motor so the clip at the back of it will hook into the motor casing, preventing it from twisting out. Keep the tension on the pulley while you fit and tighten the rear bolt. When that one's tight, move on to the front one. Give the drum a few turns just to make sure the belt is on securely and won't come off as soon as you turn the machine on. Refit the impeller, but don't push it on too far or it will rub on the housing. If you tap the centre sleeve of it with the end of your pliers, it will only go on as far as the tip of the motor shaft, which is far enough. Replacing the spring clip over the impeller with just your pliers may be a bit of a problem, so use a screwdriver to help you. Fit the top half of the impeller housing and make sure all the location points have locked into place. Then refit the wires in the channel along the top. This will prevent them from flapping about and hitting the cabinet when the machine is working. Right. The side panel can now be replaced and refitted with the 4 screws down the back and the 1 screw on top. Replace the top. They tend to go back a lot easier than they come off, and finally screw it down. But before you switch it on, just do an earth continuity test to make sure the earth's okay. Turn the meter to the 200 scale and place one probe on the earth terminal of the plug and the other on any exposed part of the cabinet. You should get a reading, but if there is no reading, then you have no earth, so you've got to re-examine the appliance. On behalf of Selfix UK, we'd like to thank you for watching this video and hope you found it useful. Goodbye.